respond to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
And of course, as always, we have plenty of rational thoughts on our show. We're going to have a good one today. My gosh, I'm excited to have our guest on. The resume is diverse as Forrest Gump, although he's much smarter than that. Chris is he knows each person's a gift, a talent, expertise, right? He lets that shine through what he does. Matter of fact, his first entrepreneurial endeavor was as a wildlife educator and studio exotic animal trainer. Yes, folks, he has trained lions and tigers and bears, oh my, and his favorite, of course, search and rescue dogs. So in other businesses, he's been licensed by the U.S. military, all 5 branches, and numerous universities as well. When the pandemic came, he quickly created a thing called Pastor 2.0, where he combined his years of sales, marketing, branding for Nike and Under Armour, curriculum writing for the Los Angeles Zoo High School, and he began focusing on launching and coaching the sacred space and other community leaders online. From there, he has began to work with more and more gifted, passionate, industry-leading professionals who want to create their own signature group coaching programs and the greatest legacy possible, which led to the creation of Launch Your Life's Work, which is his signature thing. His current program, and I'm really excited to hear more about myself, is called the Author Launchpad. He helps authors and experts package, launch, and scale their businesses for what we want, right? We want more income, impact, and influence. So he's married, lives in Long Beach, and when he's not coaching, speaking, or supporting clients, he's either with his son golfing, working out, running, cycling with his wife, or, as he'll tell us, just came back from Glacier National Park, my favorite spot. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Mr. Chris Trammell. Chris, how are you today?
I am great, Doug. Thank you for that extraordinary introduction.
Well, you wrote it, man. You wrote it. Yeah, it's a good one. Listen, we want to give people a reason to stick around today. I understand we're going to talk about all the things that people think they should do to launch and promote their book, and most of them are doing it wrong.
They are, Doug.
And we're going to set them straight today. So this is a very important show. If you're an author, you're going to become an author, want to be an author, the content's important, but if you have a strategic way to launch it and campaign it and get it in the hearts and minds of your audience, they're going to be in sad shape. So, Chris, before we get into your super secret sauce on the Author's Launchpad, I want to hear more about how you got into that. You got this great thing with animals and all that stuff. How did you get into helping the authors?
Really great. And thank you. What I appreciate most when I hear my biography back to me, and this will get into how I got into authors, is sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for the circuitous journey that some of us take in life. And one of the things inside of my journey, I've been a track and field coach for almost 25 years. I was the curriculum writer for the Los Angeles Zoo High School, the science department to be exact, and that was about 15 years. And then, I did sales for Nike and Under Armour when there was an opportunity for me to take my track and field background and to now leverage and create a territory here in Southern California.
Right.
So what I saw for myself is that there was 3 main tools that I used, and that was clipboard, chalkboard, and keyboard, right? Yeah. The clipboard is the tool of the track coach who stands there, stopwatch in one hand, clipboard in the other, keeping track of performance. The chalkboard being how we teach, how we break down concepts and make them digestible for students so they could go on and graduate and do what they want to do in life. Yeah. And then lastly, it was the keyboard where I had to write the curriculums. And so when the pandemic hit, I was able to look back, and this is to paraphrase all of it, and to say, what were my skill sets? Well, they were in performance. They were in being able to create macro cycles and microcycles of how to perform and what you had to do when, what we call blueprints or frameworks. And then the third thing was that I was able to now take that branding and marketing aspect. So pandemic hits, instead of using books as the content I was going to teach from, it now became people's lives, people's expertise, people's passions. And that is where initially it really started off with a a pastor, why you mentioned Pastor 2.0. I had an extraordinary pastor, one of these guys who transcended brand and essentially was do good, be good, speak good, leave good. And I say, Pastor, come on, let's put your stuff online. No, I don't like that online.
That's Buddhism, actually. Those are the 8 precepts. But go ahead.
Yeah, very good, right? Like, and that's what I think the holistic human dynamic is we want, when we talk about legacy later in this conversation, we talk about impact and influence. It really is, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Are we being our best and highest purpose? And I was around these sacred space leaders who were really great. And the gift they gave me is they would use words like my mission, my life work, my purpose. It wasn't, how do I become a better Facebook ads writer? How do I do more copywriting? How do I do a lot of the mechanical minutia? They were clear that there was one message, and that allowed me to quickly be able to distinguish that where we're all trying to reach is what is our life work, not just what's my purpose, but I say life work is your purpose in action.
Right. I love that.
Right? Because you could have a Phillips screwdriver, you could have a flathead or a hammer, but until you use it to create something, there is no work that's being applied to your purpose. So yes, declare a purpose, but then put it into work, and that is your life work. So we'll unfold that too. But you got me excited, Doug. You flicked the switch early in this conversation.
It reminds me of that famous quote, ships are safe in a harbor, but that's not what ships were built for. So the hammer thing is a great analogy as well. I like that. So, and as a matter of fact, it's so coincidental. I'm as of this recording, I've already just completed my TEDx talk. I'm actually doing it in a week and a half, but it's about the power of story and how powerful stories have basically created civilizations and created religions and shifted cultures and ended slavery, and stories created genocide too. I mean, a story is more powerful than AI ever will be.
Yes.
And you can there'll probably be an article going with my TEDx talk. Anyway, I digress. This is more about you. So you work with these sacred leaders, right? Or we do the sacred space stuff, and then you help them launch their books, or how did you actually make the transition and just say, okay, I'm going to take my skills as a curriculum guy, which we'll talk about in a minute, and apply it towards the author space?
Yeah, very good. So with the sacred space leaders, it was, the part was prior to the pandemic, I kept asking my pastor, let's move you online. And he was like, no, I don't want to go online. And a lot of them, they're super talented introverts inside of their 4 walls. They're extraordinarily talented, passionate when they're behind their pulpits. But the minute you got them online, it was a different mechanic and mindset. So moving them online when the pandemic hit really gave me the opportunity to look for their gift. What was their talent, and how to highlight those gift talents and that light that they would shine, and just focus on that. And then what made the transition to authors is some of my sacred space leaders had been authors. So then we would use different parts of their books. This is prior to me starting to really understand why I like working with authors. It was, okay, let's take that lesson from your book, and now let's actually turn it into a talk, and now let's add some worksheets behind it and add a workbook behind it, and let's start to generate some revenue around it. That was the challenge for that group, is that they're not necessarily revenue driven. And so as much as I love them, I had to find another group that had a little bit more hustle, a little bit more skin in the game, and was willing to say, okay, what do I have to do to advertise myself? What do I have to do to expand my market reach? And that's where I started looking for authors, because inside of their table of contents is usually a program written out. And then my skill set is still to read the book or read it along with them, and to listen to where the inflections of influence are, to listen where passion comes out, and I could convert it to platform. So the natural move was to go to speakers like yourself, persons that have this deep knowledge and expertise, or they've written a book and then just do what I've done before, which is, okay, what are the main things that people need from the solutions that you have in your book? How are we going to turn that into a coaching program? And then after you do some beta iterations at a coaching program, then create your online program, create your online course.
Yeah, right.
Don't do a course in a silo.
So that sort of leads me into the big question of the day. Like, okay, so when I see people launch a book and they talk about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, congratulations, you launched a book. I'm proud of you. And then the book is out and I've seen the message and I'm kind of done with it. Either I ordered the book or I didn't. And what happens to that author is like, okay, well, I got my social media database, my email database. I can only promote this book maybe for a week. After that, people are like, okay, I get it. Stop it. Get over yourself. And I see that a lot for people just promote themselves.
Yeah.
And you can only talk about yourself until you get annoying, I guess. So that's what I see. That's my opinion of what a lot of people are doing it ineffectively. And they don't know why they're going to sell more than a couple dozen books. So I love what you said about the timeline, right? That you don't start with the course. You start with the purpose and intention and what you're really going to do here, what your story is. So tell us more about the Author Launchpad, what you guys do specifically to help authors launch their book and make it successful for themselves.
Awesome. Thank you for asking, Doug.
Yeah.
And, you pointed to a really excellent illustration with your boat in the harbor analogy. I think that's where a book on a shelf is very similar to a boat in a harbor.
Yep.
That's great. There's a lot of knowledge in that book, but until someone brings it to life, until someone uses it for what it was designed for and actually implements and integrates what that knowledge is or what the purpose is, it's just another feel good. It's just another nice observation.
Yeah, I know. And I looked at, visiting a friend's house, a couple of years ago, I think, and I'm looking at his bookshelf. Oh, that's a cool one. I pull it out. And I did this by accident. But I'm like, I turned it like sideways, holding the spine in my hand, and I'm looking at it like it's never been opened.
Oh,
you can tell by turning it down. Like, if the ones that were dog-eared or highlighted or kind of weathered, that's a book that's got something to it.
Yes.
Kind of
so, how I got into it. You asked some really great things, and I'll stay on track. I get excited sometimes, Doug, when you say certain things.
Okay, we got 18 minutes left.
Okay, great. Now, I'm going to narrow this down quick. Simply, I help authors monetize their expertise.
Nice.
Bottom line. Now, how I do that is, as you read earlier, I have a program called the Author Launchpad where I help them package, launch, and scale that knowledge and expertise found within their books. Most people, let's go with the first phase, package. Most people don't know what their message is because authors have spent so much time building the muscles inside of a silo, they don't know which one to start with. What is my core message? Or if they do have an idea of what it is, they're either not confident that that's what it should be, or two, it is a very long message that hasn't been distilled down to. I help authors launch their expertise.
Yeah. It's funny. As you know, we are a ghostwriting and publishing company. And I was talking to a guy this morning about his book, and he got some good ideas. I said, those are great ideas. They probably should work. He's like, probably. I'm like, well, what I do is I treat every book like a manufacturing company would treat a brand new product. We got to make the prototype. We got to have a focus group. We got to beta test this thing before you put a lot of resources into manufacturing it. Because, manufacturing, they spend, they can spend $500,000 on a particular mold. If that product is no good, they got to make another one. So the prototype is, in our case, I'll just tell you how we do it. But we take a person's idea and we create a dozen covers. We split test those and poll people and do surveys and narrow down that all important, like, what is this saying? Is it a hook? Is it curious? Is it answering a question? And then we'll take that to a focus group with the actual potential readers and get their feedback on it. Why did you like that font? What color made sense to you? So it's a lot of fun. We also do Amazon competitive analysis, which I think I told you about last time. But we do 3-star reviews. We ignore every single 1-star review out there. They're just angry people. And we ignore 5-star reviews. It's usually somebody's mother. But a 3-star review, and I've read these myself, and my team collates them all. This gives great feedback. The people always say what they like. They generally say what they didn't like. And oftentimes they'll say what they were expecting, what they would have liked to have read or consumed.
Yes.
And that kind of data, man, we pull 100 of those and put into a pie chart, collate it, and deliver it to our clients so that when it comes time to actually write that book and create the marketing message, we know what the audience is, what they like, what they don't like. And we don't make those mistakes like everybody else, and we try to serve what people are saying. So you're on the right track there about taking a, maybe a little slow path to getting that curriculum built. And I got to tell you one more thing, and I want you to expand on this point, because I've seen a lot of people, myself included, I'll take the chapter titles, do a quick video, make a curriculum out of it, create a workbook, ask some questions, a lot of blank pages. There's my $1,000 product, right? And it looks good, it works.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I don't have, decades of experience with curriculum and formal teaching and knowing because the difference between selling and teaching, right? I mean, all these people out there selling their books, marketing themselves, teaching's different.
It is.
You got to create curiosity and interest in another person to have them open their brains and come to you. So I'm going to let you talk for a minute about how your curriculum design, I'm assuming, is like 10 times better than what people do on what they see on the internet. So tell us about how you design a curriculum. I want to hear all about it.
Well, thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
I want your audience to know something that's really important for me to feature about you, was that my strength, as you just described, is the world of performance and the world of actually integrating knowledge into action. Books are repositories of knowledge, but until they get opened up and turned into an action plan, a blueprint, a framework, a roadmap, they're just knowledge. And, I know some of the purists do not like when I say that, because a lot of people write books for the feelings, and I get it. But feelings haven't changed the world exactly. That's not true. Feelings have changed the world. It's the actions that we took from those feelings that have actually changed the world. It's the actions that we took. So here's where the curriculum part came in. I was seeing more and more talented authors write books, and they were colleagues first, and then they'd come out from their silo and they'd be like, I wrote a book. I'm like, great. Where's your email list? How big is your audience? How many people have you communicated with? And the muscle that they built inside of these silos of work, which we all had to go through, are kind of the muscles of the introvert. So part of my curriculum inside of Package Launch Scale is in that scale phase, we start to work on the muscles of the extrovert. It's to start to really, why did you write this book in action? Not just, I want you to tell me the Simon Sinek start with why, which could have very profound reasons, but the why that if I saw and it was measurable, that's the thing, Doug. Is it measurable? Is your book sales aren't measurable for impact. They're measures of revenue. I want measures of impact. Did your knowledge actually shape and shift a life? And can you show me that? Can you tell me that?
How do you do that with a monologue, right? And you had a book where it's shipped across the country, across the world. Somebody reads it and they think, they feel, maybe they take some action. The author rarely knows about that. Knows about that.
That's right.
Unless they've got some tracking mechanisms or they know who read their book and have to ask them, right? I mean, that's the thing about Amazon, which I love Amazon. They're wonderful, but man, they're not sharing any data. You don't know who's buying your book from there. You better have some other things going on there, or you're going to be in the dark, right?
Yeah, well, let's just take that Amazon. Here's I think a highlight that you shared with your clients, and for everybody listening. Look, Amazon is not going to give you the email address of the people who buy your book, so you better have a QR code. You better have something that has people go back to your website from your book and has them opt into one of your chapters, one of the worksheets for your chapters, a lesson, a video sales lesson. Not video sales, that's a different landing page, a video lesson of one of those chapters, because Amazon's not going to get it for you. So you could say, hey, I'm getting sales, which is great. You're getting your, I don't know, $4, maybe profit back. Maybe if you, I don't know, Doug, what's the max someone might be able to make off a $15 book? 10?
It's only about 50, 60%. So call it $8, like that.
$8. Okay, great. So in the hour that it's going to take them to hustle to sell one book, I want them to sell one coaching program built off their book. So instead of $8, they make $800. Instead of selling $15, they can make $1,500. And now what will that do for your marketing machine when you're starting to put additional revenue in there? Because look, if there's anybody who's going to be the biggest advocate for your book, is you.
Yep, that's right. So what are some of the best practices to do that? I've seen a bunch of different people. One of our friends in the industry taught me this thing. It was so cool. He would put, because a book is worth what, $15-20. Audiobooks, when they first came out, they were more expensive. They were like, $25 audiobook. They're probably less now. But when he first did it, he would say, this is a great Amazon hack, folks. He would put the QR code and the link before the copyright notice, like on the very first page of his book. And here's what he said people do. I'm not sure if you do this when you look at books, Chris, but sometimes like, oh, looks so cool. Let me go peek inside. And they preview the inside of the book.
Exactly.
He's getting leads without selling his book because people just go in there and then they go, oh, QR code, get it. So it's kind of disingenuous to Amazon. There you go. That's at the back of the book.
This is, now we've talked about my cover. So for those of you that want to come back for a cover lesson with Doug, but Doug, this is on the second page of my book.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's reversed in here. You're right. Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah. So same thing. Put something in there that moves them to your platform.
Right. And make it super compelling. Like I said, at the time, the book is $15. Your QR code should be something which is, 2, 5, 10 times more valuable than the book. Yeah. Because as you know, people, they rarely buy it for the product, they buy it for the bonuses, right? So if you stack a really good bonus in there, it generally works much better. What else have you do besides that?
Well, I just want to take what you say, and this is where the paradigm shift is, that people would buy for the bonuses and not the book.
Yeah.
Inside of my coaching, I believe that over time, people will buy for the access to the expert and the book knowledge because they know it gets them closer to the solutions that they need for their lives that are in that book, because they now see, oh, that person has a program. Where's their book? And they stop buying for this small game of what are the bonuses? What are my freebies? Right. And we start to move people back into how's it going to change my life? Who's going to give me the solutions, not just for the minutia, but really for the shift in mindset and for the momentum that's going to get me what I want in my life. And that's a paradigm shift away from some of that traditional marketing, which absolutely still works.
I like that better. You obviously, both work, of course.
Yeah.
But your style of that has a lot more legs to it, because if people just buy for the bonuses, they get excited and it's an emotional sale. And like you and I both have things on my computer that were a bonus that I never opened, right? We all have things. Oh, this is cool. I get this. Where'd it go? I don't know. On my computer somewhere. The endorphin rush is gone, right? I got my something free or cool, and now it's over. I'm good. Yeah. So I like your idea of being more fundamental. Like here, I'm going to help you with your, because what's the other expression you can use? People don't buy information; they buy transformation.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
that's what you said about the getting access to the guy. Yeah, I can get we'll just use Grant Cardone's book 10X. Okay, it was a good book. I liked it. I didn't care for him for many years, and I got his book. I'm like, I kind of like it now. Am I going to spend 20, 30 grand for access to him? Depends what my problem is.
Right.
If I think he can solve it, heck yeah.
Yes.
Because I've already tried on my own. And we could talk about coaching because Chris Trammell coaching.com is a great site where you can get things like that. You can go and look at his Author Launchpad there.
Thank you.
But having someone do it for you or guide you, or more importantly, avoid the landmines,
yes,
is super valuable. I'm a big fan. I've had many coaches in my life and consultants, and each time it's been a good thing.
I think that's, thank you. I'm going to take that. I'm even going to put on my glasses now, Doug, so I sound more intellectual.
You look smarter now for sure, yeah.
One of the things that I see, I would assert that many, and then now let's to be clear, I work with nonfiction authors. If you're the next J.K. Rowling, C.S. Lewis, George Lucas, and you have a fiction book that is just completely filled with the lessons of living well and living life, I'll work with you, right?
Yeah.
But I don't do Harlequin, I don't do fantasy books. I work with nonfiction.
Right.
Most of my nonfiction experiences is that the authors have a little bit of an identity issue. Mm-hmm. And it is the identity of issue that I am a writer and I am an author. Yes, you are. But that does not generate impact and influence, and it doesn't allow people to integrate the information into their lives. There is a shift for especially this new world where we're becoming more digital, and as people are looking to pull back and still say, well, where's that personal connection inside of this digital world? The author has to have an element of coaching and an element of being able to transform through coaching. A book in and of itself is not going to transform anybody.
No.
It even when people say, well, let's take the Bible. I'm going to go as deep water right now.
Go for it.
On its own, it is a masterpiece of a collection of writings.
Right.
But it's only through the orders and the speakers and the persons who stand there on Sundays that bring it to life that it actually then begins to shape the cells and the thinking of people.
And the Bible study connection and the community things you do at church afterwards, the brunches and the lunches and stuff, that's where a connection support. I was on a webinar yesterday with some AI stuff. And my TEDx talk is about AI versus stories. So
Doug, I can't wait to hear it. I told you I'd be ears for it before you hit that stage. I've got a few TEDx coaches. So yes.
Good. I'm excited about it. And in this webinar, I'm looking at this guy who's a brilliant former physician, designed some really good AI software that combines everything. I mean, it's like your Swiss Army knife of AI. It'll do images, writing, videos, and it does everything. It's one platform. Like, this is really good. And the people in the webinar are going bananas for it. Oh my God, this is going to be so good. I can get everything done instead of taking me 8 hours. I get done in 8 minutes. Okay, that's great. And I'm watching these people get all excited. I'm like, man, I think maybe my age is starting to creep up because I remember when it was cool to be a blogger. It was like, the word weblog, right, was the first thing became blog. And as of last year, I looked it up. There's one blog for every 7 people on the planet.
Oh my gosh.
And it used to be cool to have a website. Wow, you got a website. Now anyone can have it. It used to be cool to be on TV. Now you can have a TV station. They can stream. Everybody has a studio in their pocket. And when I see all the AI content coming on, it's going to get more and more prolific. I see danger, sadness, and opportunity. I see danger. Everyone's going to be creating content. And it's all going to be, AI generated. Okay, that's nice. Opportunity. That makes you sad because we're going through the same cycle of everyone can do something. Everyone can be something.
Right.
But it's an opportunity because the connection, that's one thing that's a totally human thing. And as of now, as of this date, right, AI is not going to connect with people. I mean, who really has a relationship with Siri? Unless you're making Japanese sex robots, there's really no relationship with AI. It's a tool, right? So I think that as it gets more and more popular, there's going to be a big rise in connection. I mean,
Yeah,
our
very good.
marketing for next year, we're focusing on going and meeting our clients in person. That's going to cost a lot more money, but we do all right. So it's important to have connection. And I think what you're talking about here with the curriculum, do you also promote these guys doing like live things where they can have those dialogues and stuff too, not just videos?
Yeah, going back to that, the coaching aspect is, one of my coaches really is like, hey, that know, like, and trust factor,
Right.
you build it by going live. And
Mhm.
so all of my clients, I have a sub program called Be Brave, Go Live, where I coach people not to be deer in headlights, and I coach them to be articulate and to
Right.
stay with one theme and to deliver one message. And I've just built that inside of the scale phase, which is, how do you practice going live? And so you talk about those either aspects of your book or those themes that will lead back to your book, so that people start to see you as that expert, because you've got to be top of mind. We know that it is a saturated world now, and you've got to be showing up often. You mentioned Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
And not long ago, first time same thing, Grant was just one of those edgy guys.
Yeah.
But I read 10X Habits, and it reorganized my cells about, you got one life to live. You got to get out there and share what you got. You got to be omnipresent. But people push back against that, Doug, because it requires an element of skin in the game that most people say, I wrote a book, you go sell it for me. That's not skin in the game, because they know it's that crossing that threshold of the tip of the hierarchy of needs of self-actualization.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a good list of, VIP clients, and we charge a good penny to ghostwrite and publish a book for people. And again, this morning, a guy asked me, okay, well, I got a question. It's a loaded question. I know it, but I got to ask anyway. But like, what's the success rate? And I said, oh, it's 100%. And he, dramatic pause. Goes, it's 100% if you put work into it. You'll get some result from it. If you put nothing into it, you're going to get 100% of nothing. It's 100%. And it's just funny. I remember, do you remember what's that one book? Did you read the book, The One Thing?
Yeah.
Right? Keller Williams guy and somebody else. I forgot his names, right?
That's right.
A buddy in our industry did an article on it. And he said when the book came out, good launch, of course, he's, Keller Williams, decent launch. And like most authors, then nothing. Nothing. Okay, I did my launch. Everybody who knows me got the book or wanted it. Excuse me. Now what? How do I campaign this?
Yes.
1 second.
Sure. TV timeout right now while Doug's talking. If you'd like to find.
Spit.
There we go.
Well, the line I use from reading the article, he just read his own book. He just did one thing.
Yeah.
Over and over again, which was media interviews.
Making yourself part of that omnipresent. Go on podcast. I got you, Doug. Here's what I'm going to share right now. Go on podcasts that are within the industry that you are trying to penetrate and you're trying to generate sales in. Go on their podcasts. Like, look at Doug and I. The part that I never got to say is, I call myself the AP guy. After publishing, I want to work with you once you are about to publish your book and once you've published your book. I'm not a great book coach. Actually, I'm really good. I just don't invest my time there because I don't want to edit. I don't want to do those rewrites. I'm going to send you to BP experts like Doug. Yeah. Those are the persons. I want you to go to the before publishing experts, because if you look at how someone like Doug and myself work, we're like a relay team. For all of you who can remember track and field in high school, Doug runs one leg with you. I'm going to pick you up and take you to the finish line of really having your book exist in the world. Just because it was printed and published means it is tangibly in the world, but it doesn't exist and impact in the world until you bring the content to life.
It's reminds me of one of the worst movies in the world. Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Oh,
Liar. It was a great movie. I'm joking, but
yes.
the message, if you build it, they will come. It's every marketer's dream and it's a nightmare because it obviously doesn't happen.
It got distorted, man. They used it the wrong way.
Yeah. It's a good movie. I'm just joking about that.
Yes.
So give us some, before we finish up here, give us some key takeaways. What are like 3 things someone can do to launch their book or do it effectively, or 3 mistakes they can make and avoid? Give me something.
Okay, great. Thank you for asking. So here's one I would say is, well, I'm going to talk about the AP part, the after publishing and launching yourself as an author expert. That's really, I think, where our nonfiction individuals want to, I say there's core human injuries. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be safe, we want to be acknowledged, and we want to know our worth.
Right.
Everything is built inside of that. You could hear my behaviorist come out. I'm going to invite each and every listener here to start to go live, preferably on Mondays, and start letting people know the content that you're going to be inside of your book. And that's what you're going to start to go live about. So as you complete one chapter, I want you to do a short summary and go live about that. And at the end, say, if this interested you, I invite you to sign up for my coming soon book.
Right.
Start to build your audience. Don't write the book in a silo without an audience. So there's one. I want you to go live, and I want you to go live about the content of your book. 2, if it's the Rotary Club, if it's the Elks Club, if it's the Mooses, the Optimist, find the group that wants to hear you come and speak. Because you're going to start to listen for, how does my audience respond in real time? And that's what you need to remember, and then go back and refine that chapter based on what is the energy you get back from people. Doug, you could see I'm an introvert. I don't work on energy. No, wrong. I work on energy. I work on being with people in rooms, because that's what we are. We're social animals. We move in and out of space with others. So when you write in a silo, you're missing the energetic connection with another human being. And that's where I say, get on a stage. And I don't care if the stage is 15 ladies at a women's group. Start there.
Yeah. I love it. That is really good. Go ahead. That's 2. You got one more? I'm sorry.
That's 2. The third one I'm going to offer is get in contact with Doug or get in contact with me, because, Doug, I don't know about you, but even this morning, when I wake up, the voice kicks in sometimes faster than our highest purpose kicks in. And you got to have a coach. I mean, how many winning championship teams, and every author listening to this wants to be a winner with their book, didn't have a coach? None. But yet our adultness and our ego says, I'm fine. I'll do this on my own. Yeah. You won't win the game that you're playing. You will win the game that you're playing, which is called play without a coach. Just like you said earlier, you'll have 100% success rate at that game.
Yeah.
But if you really want that tip of that, that hierarchy of needs, that real self-actualization, and I have a pyramid that I walk people through, get a coach. Have someone who could see your performance, because you're not just an author, writer. You are now going to move. If you really want impact, you have to move into the world of performance. And that is my biggest invitation. So the third part would be, please get and I think this might be new, but an author performance coach, not just the author coach, which is who's going to help you with the writing. That's Doug. Author performance. What do you do with the writing after? That's Chris. We work together.
Yeah. Very, very good stuff. Yeah. It's the data on it is kind of, I don't know, it's sad or whatnot, but I think I looked it up again when I was doing some marketing. I think there's like 33 billion books new total, right? That's a lot, 33 billion. There's about 2 million new books every year. Every year, 2 million new titles. Now, people think, oh, I'm an author, no, I'm special. I'm like, Yeah, you are, because still the University of Michigan did a study. 81% of people think about writing a book. Less than 1% do. So you're unique, but there's a lot more unique people out there who are publishing stuff. And I say this about publishing. Like, yeah, self-publishing is kind of cool. It's the best and worst things ever happen. It's the best because I don't have to, succumb to the man and tell him, oh, you're good enough to publish. I can do it on my own.
Right.
Well, it's good. It's good. Everybody can publish. And it's horrible because anybody can publish.
Absolutely.
So it's why it's important to have somebody who can make the words work and then get in the hearts and minds of your audience with extra content and multimedia stuff and courses, and most importantly, some results from your tutelage.
Yes.
So their lives improve and they can do the most important thing, which is share it with somebody else.
Absolutely.
What does Joe Rogan make? 100 million or something like that for his show? Some big number. Have you ever seen an ad for Joe Rogan?
No, not one.
Not one.
And
Now,
that's the omnipresence. And, I think the big part about that is, authenticity.
Yeah.
He's being who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also, I want to say, I believe when I listen to him, he's a really smart guy. Like, he's jock, he's extraordinarily talented inside of mixed martial arts, but he is a learned individual who appreciates bringing his knowledge forward, and it's so engaging and compelling.
Right.
And, we go back inside of my circuitous journey. There's not many people I can't hang with, going from science, going from spirituality, working with animals, going, and now with all the different authors that I read, it allows me to see, oh, your best fit is probably going to be with this audience, and your best fit's going to be with this audience. And now, who do you get to be to have an impact on that audience?
Right. My point on that is, like, think about it. He's never run an ad that, to my knowledge, maybe he has, but I haven't seen anything. And I didn't go looking for a podcast. I didn't go, let me find something, right? It was word of mouth from my son, who kept bugging me to listen. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to listen to a 2-hour podcast. You crazy? And then I listened to a couple. I'm like, whoa, this is really good stuff.
Yeah.
So it's word of mouth. And I'll leave on that there's a lot of things you can do to promote your message, your story, your book. And a lot of them work to some degree. But the number one form of advertising, people always say, is word of mouth.
Yeah.
So what is your plan for that? Do you have a mechanism, a psychological mechanism inside your stuff to make it shareable? And that's a really good question to ask yourself before you go to launch your book, I think. So
very good. So I have to remember that even though you and I see each other, you're not asking me that as much as you're asking the audience that. So I want you to let's distill it down. You ask your audience the question, then I'm going to ask my question about that second. So Doug's question to you, audience listener, is:
what psychological trigger do you have that's verified inside your copy, your book, your marketing, that creates a viral share, that makes a person want to share it? It's either going to be, again, go back to limbic brain, avoiding pain or getting pleasure, right? What's it going to be? Pick one and make sure it's embedded in your copy so that people want to share it. My son wanted me to share that podcast because it was about a topic that was near and dear to me. He said, Doug, Dad, you got to listen to this thing. I'm like, yeah. But he had to tell me 2 or 3 times, repetition, before I went ahead and did it. So it's got to be shareable, and you got to understand why people share things. They share things because they want to feel like they're important. Like I found something. I got the cool video. I got the best cat video out there. Watch this one, right? We like and share stuff for a multitude of reasons, but I think that's where I'll end on that. That's my answer to my own question. So you go ahead and ask yours.
And my question for the audience listener is, all right, I'm going to give one that I give inside of the very beginning, inside of a package. There's going to be a eulogy said about you at some point in time. What do you want them to say about you in that eulogy? And whatever you want them to say in that eulogy, reverse engineer it so that you're taking those actions now so that is what gets said.
Yeah.
And I know that's a big thought, but if you want people to say when the time comes, you were a great philanthropist, you changed communities, you gave back to the high school you went to, you sold more books and impacted more lives than anybody else inside of this industry, then there's work for you to do. And how do you get to reverse engineer it? Because it's not impossible. It's very possible.
You know, of all the goal setting objectives, things that we do, which are always like, well, that'd be nice. It's a wish, a dream. Yours is 100% going to happen. You know, we are going to die. There will most likely be a eulogy. We're not making this stuff up, folks. It's going to happen to all of us. So I think that's probably the best marketing goal setting advice I've ever heard. You know, is to write your own eulogy. Be serious about it. And if you want to get real serious, get one of those countdown timers that calculate your age and put it, oh, I got 10,000 days left, whatever it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, Doug, thank you for that. You know, you said at the beginning, I went to Glacier National Park. One of my goals is, when my father passed away, he asked to be cremated. He loved national parks. I grew up knowing the back of the Sierra Nevadas and Yosemite like the back of my hand. And I had a little urn with me that I sprinkled some of my dad. But in the national parks, part of my philanthropy is to go and do my life work and support national parks, is to be a donor and a philanthropist to the saving of the environment, to the saving of the ecosystem, to the best of my ability. But I can't do that in a silo if I'm hoping someone else sells and markets my books. I have to show up with the Doug Crowes. I have to show up wherever I could show up for that to have even have a chance to exist. So whatever you say, that last day they say about you, you've got to reverse engineer it and be working on it today.
I love it. I hope you make all your clients write that out. That's a good one. Chris Trammell with 2 L's, coaching.com. Check it out. And if you want to go to the Author Launchpad, the extension, the-author-launchpad, and you can learn more about what Chris does. He'll help you do a better job with making real money with your book and making sure your message is in alignment with your passion and values. So Chris, thank you very much. Appreciate your time today.
I appreciate it, Doug. Thank you. And for those guests that are here, I did want to make something from this conversation, you've totally inspired me. So if they go to theauthorlaunchpad.com /TAL_gift, there will be that same eulogy worksheet that I do with my clients. I will put that up. I don't think this will be up in the next 24 hours, but I will have that up within the next 24, 48. So by the time they go to theauthorlaunchpad.com /TAL_gift, that exercise will be there so that we could transform more nonfiction authors into philanthropists and the difference makers that's in their heart to be.
They want to be. Absolutely. Chris, thank you so much for being on the show today. Appreciate it. Come back again sometime, would you?
I absolutely will, Doug. Thank you so much.
You bet. My pleasure. And that concludes our show for today in the Author Your Brand Show. You're going to want to take notes. And if you didn't take notes, don't sweat it, because click below here. Your show notes are there. Chris's website, his link, his free eulogy framework, everything you need. So subscribe, like, share, comment below. Appreciate you and have a great day. See you next time.